Hey everybody, Forrest here, and today we're going to look at how to format an external hard drive, flash drive, or any other type of external media using macOS. Let's go ahead and dive in. So first off, very important disclaimer, formatting means erasing, so do not follow along in this video if you are not willing to completely erase whichever drive you decide to format. Step number one is going to be to open up a program called Disk Utility on your computer. You can find this in the applications folder or just run a search for it and go ahead and open it up. It does come pre-installed on every Mac computer. Now, once we're in Disk Utility, you're gonna get a list of all the internal and external hard drives and flash drives that are currently connected to your computer. One thing I like to do is go up to the View menu at the top and go to Show All Devices. By default, I find Apple hides some really useful information from us here that we're gonna wanna have access to. Number two, you're gonna wanna make sure that you plug your drive, whatever type it is, into your computer, and you should see it over here on the left in the external section. I really recommend only having one hard drive plugged in when you're formatting a drive because you don't want to inadvertently format the wrong one. So I like to safely remove or eject all hard drives and then just plug in the one that I'm looking to format. In this case, I'm looking to format this Samsung SSD 870 EVO drive over here on the left. What I'm gonna do is select the top level of the hard drive, not the partition on it. And this is an important step. If you don't go View, Show All Devices, you're actually not gonna see the top level. It's gonna be hidden from you, and we really wanna have access to that. So we're gonna select the top level. Again, be very careful what you select. That is what's gonna get formatted. From here on the top bar, we're gonna click the Erase button and we're gonna get a number of options. The first option we have is our name. Now, depending on the format we choose next, the name can either be very open-ended or we might be a little bit more restricted with what we can choose. What I recommend is putting in what you'd like to call the drive, and then when we choose our other options, we may find that we have to rename it slightly because it doesn't match the requirements of the specific format we choose. I'm gonna come in here and just call this my main photo drive. Now, when it comes to format, we have a choice. I'm gonna recommend people pick one of four things, either APFS, macOS Extended Journaled, exFAT, or MS-DOS (FAT). Depending on the use case, one of these four options will be best for you. So I wanna break it down like this. If you know that your device is only ever gonna be used on a Mac and you want the best performance on a Mac computer, you're gonna be choosing APFS or macOS Extended Journaled. The difference is whether you're formatting an SSD or a solid state drive or an HDD, a hard disk drive. Hard disk drives have spinning, moving components inside them, while SSDs are usually smaller, lighter, faster, and don't have any sort of moving parts inside. If you're formatting an SSD for Mac use, go with APFS. If you're formatting an HDD or hard disk drive for Mac use, go with macOS Extended Journaled. Both of those are optimized for those specific use cases. Now, if you want to use the drive with Macs or PCs, we're going to want to go with exFAT or MS-DOS FAT. Now, I left some links in the description because I think some people will want to do more reading and exploration on this, but I'm going to break it down fairly simply. MS-DOS FAT is going to give you the most reliability and ease of use between Macs and PCs. The problem is MS-DOS FAT has some very big limitations in both the capacity of the hard drive and the types of files we can put onto it. Namely, the max file size with MS-DOS FAT is 4 gigabytes, and the maximum drive size is 2 terabytes. So if you're a videographer and you're gonna be commonly shooting files that are over 4 gigabytes in size, MS-DOS FAT is not gonna work for you. However, if you're just using small files like maybe documents, small photos, things like that, and you have a smaller hard drive or flash drive and you wanna use it with both Mac and PC, MS-DOS FAT is gonna be your best choice. If you do want to use those larger files or you have a larger drive size, you're going to want to go with exFAT. But here's my warning to all of you. exFAT tends to be very slow, have low performance, and will sometimes corrupt your data when switching between Mac and PC. So use it at your own risk. My recommendation would be, if you really want to use a drive on a Mac and a PC, look at it as a temporary transfer drive. Format it as exFAT and use it as a way to get files from one computer system over to the other computer system, but not a tool for long-term storage. On a PC, if you're looking for a drive to use for long-term storage, you're gonna wanna format it with NTFS, which is Windows's format that's best for hard drives. Same thing if you're on a Mac and you're gonna wanna use something for long-term Mac storage. Like I said, you're gonna want APFS or macOS Extended Journaled. exFAT should only be used for short duration transfers between systems. Finally, if you are in an environment where Mac and PC use at the same time is super important, maybe check out something like a network attached storage device or a NAS. A NAS is multi-platform by nature because it lives on the network. PCs and Macs can access a NAS at the same time with no loss of performance, and it's a really fast way to do things. So if that's important to you, that can be a way to do it. One other solution is to format the drive in APFS, macOS Extended Journaled, or on a PC as NTFS, and download special software on the other operating system to allow it to read and write to a drive that's not native to that system. Again, though, you might run into issues down the line. To conclude, Mac folks, if it's an SSD and you're gonna use it on a Mac, go with APFS. If you're using a hard disk drive, go with macOS Extended Journaled. Lastly, for the scheme, we're gonna wanna choose GUID partition map. The only exception to this would be master boot record in certain instances where you want the hard drive to work on a very, very old computer. For most everything made in the last 10, 15, 20 years, GUID partition map is gonna be perfect. And this right here is how I would set up my disk utility to format an SSD for Mac use only. I'm gonna go ahead and click erase, let this run. I do wanna point out sometimes it will fail the first time. If that happens, just run it a second time, it's no problem, and it should finish the process very easily. Again, if you're interested in the whole Mac, PC, what drive format is which, check out the links down in the description. Those might be helpful for you to learn a little bit more about this process. Here we can see it has completed. I'm gonna go ahead and click done. And now we have a properly formatted SSD, formatted in APFS, which is perfect for the Mac environment. And lastly, leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'd love to help out in any way that I can. You might wanna consider bookmarking this video or sharing it with a friend. This is one of those things I think is like a key thing that photographers, videographers, creatives need every year or two. They get a new slew of hard drives, so it's a good kind of process to have a quick reference to learn how to do. Thanks everybody, and I'll catch you in the next one.